Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Intergraph Process, Power, and Marine President Gerhard Sallinger.
Lose you, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, like that. I don't need a reason why.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a good day yesterday. Did you like it? Discotheque? Good. So, one recommendation on that end, don't miss this night or this evening at the arena, okay? You would miss something quite exciting, okay? So see you then. In the next 15 minutes or so, I will speak a little bit about Intergraph PP&M, where we are, where we go. So this will be relatively short. And after this, Charles Evans, Melanie Eakes, and Patrick Holcomb would come in and would give you an overview and show you a lot of new stuff on the product side, what's coming, and I think that will be pretty exciting for you too. Okay? Okay, so a little bit of update about this event on the PP&M side. We are approximately 1,200 people this year, maybe a few more, because we had a good number of late registrations yesterday or Monday. This is the highest number of people at any meeting of this type the last 10 years or more. It's 30% more than last year. So thank you very much for this. This shows something, and we take it serious. Also, welcome all the customers from the CADWorks and Analysis University, which the first time is combined with our international customer meeting. It was in Houston for the last 5 years, so we got about 100 plus people from that side being here as well. So hope you guys enjoy it too. All right, let's talk a little bit about a few industry trends or factors. Projects these days, new projects are getting bigger and bigger. It's really amazing. 7 years ago, the largest project we did at this time for a new plant in the oil sands region of Alberta had a value of approximately 6 or 7 billion US dollar, and it was considered a mega large project. Just 2 weeks ago, I spoke with a large EPC of us, and they told us that they are bidding, they did not win it, but they are bidding for a project in Mozambique, which is in East Africa. It's an LNG terminal or several LNG terminals somewhere basically in the jungle almost. And believe it or not, this project, they told, will be 60 billion. Can you imagine that? 10 times as big as one of the largest projects just 7, 8 years ago. It's unbelievable. This has a couple of challenges on its own, as you can imagine. Logistics is, it's really a huge challenge. It's almost not doable. So the consequence of this is that this project would be done in a modular way. So they prefabricate the modules and bring it to the site. Most projects in the past, at least on land, are stick-built, and the EPCs and the construction companies brought tens of thousands of workers on site. Technip, a couple of years ago, did a very large project in Qatar, and they had 80,000 people on site, workers, for the construction of this thing for more than 2 years. So imagine, I don't know how big this was, but it was maybe in the 10 billion range. With a 60 billion range, you would have 300,000 or what? Impossible, right? So prefabrication, modular design is a key. The good side or good part of the story from our side is that we have the perfect and best technology for modular design and construction. So we have the tools for the EPCs and the fabrication firms to do it this way. So anyway, that's one mega trend we see. Also, it's not a secret that the need and the demand for energy of all types continues to grow. The worldwide economy is seeing some, flat phase at the moment, depending on the region, depending on the type. But I think that this will be only a limited phase in time, and then business and economy will come up again. We already see that in some areas. Also, from the industry types, we see that conventional power, specifically gas plants, because there's so much gas in this world, also through shale gas and so, is continue to go well and even grow. Coal might be a little bit flattened, but gas is a boom thing. Green energy, a mega trend, probably not stoppable and should not stop. Nuclear comes back. I know nuclear renaissance is a buzzword already since a couple of years, but in the past, in many cases, it was more a thinking about than doing, but this is going to change. We see real plants and projects popping up in several areas in the Middle East. Turkey, for example, signed contracts for 4 or 5 new plants in the country. Korea, Japan comes back after the disaster. China, and so on, the US. We'll see. Shipbuilding is still in a downside spiral, but offshore is growing still. And last but not least, as I've said a minute ago, shale gas is a big boom. It already is going to change the US economy, but I believe from all we see that it will not be a limited thing to the US in the future, but that other countries and regions will fall in line. So we'll probably see in the next 8 to 10 years a lot of shale gas being taken out of the earth. What impact that might have on industries and on offshore specifically is a question, because in many cases shale gas is a simpler and cheaper source of energy, right? Whereas deep sea by nature is not that cheap. So we'll see. Also, we need to see what that means for our traditional complex 3D business, because shale gas plants are relatively simple, and the question mark is, what that means for the software. So I have asked my team to have a special, or build a special small tiger team to figure out and simulate what that could mean for us. In other words, what should we do, if anything, on our products to address the specific needs for the shale gas market? No answers yet, but we are looking at it. So I just want to let you know that we are thinking forward, at least we try to be ready, and maybe earlier than others, in case there is something to do, to guarantee you also in the future that Intergraph PP&M delivers you the best technology you can get and need. So, regarding our business, solid revenue growth. I'll show you the numbers in a minute. all good from that end. We are constantly increasing and growing our R&D investments. We are broadening the product portfolio. Yesterday we talked about 2 new solutions, SmartPlant Cloud and SmartPlant Fusion, which I believe will be strong business growth elements for the future. So last year our R&D spend was the highest ever, more than 70 million just on this. Headcount obviously is up almost 15% in R&D last year. And again, the new solutions we work on will provide us with a further solid growth of the business, and also will, I believe, make us stronger, even stronger, as a player in the market. That's at least what I get from, by talking to customers and discussing their plans and so. So this was last year. As you can see, record, almost 500 million. And again, I said it last year already at the same moment. We know where this money is coming from, okay? We know that it's not falling from heaven, and we don't print it. It's your money, you invest in us, you trust in us, you use our technology, hopefully with success. And again, we'll not forget this. Thank you very much. Just as a short-term update, Q1 of this year was the best quarter, not best Q1, but the best quarter of any quarters, any year. So the trend continues, and I'm optimistic that we will see another good year to come. What is interesting and maybe different between PPM and other companies in that business is that our revenue is very balanced. You see here the 3 world regions we have, the Americas, EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific, including China, which is internally an own region. But to simplify the statistics, I thought we'd take it together. And what you see is that all the 3 regions really did basically the same size of revenue, same number. But Asia, very little bit, first time ever, is the biggest of the 3 regions. And I'm sure that this trend will continue. So next year, I don't know exactly which percentage it will be, but I'm sure that it will be more than 34%. All regions do well, but Asia is really the region with the highest dynamic we see. And again, this is not what you see with all other players in the market. And I take this as something good, because it shows to me that our product portfolio, our solutions, really address the need of the majority. So that what we are doing is obviously not too bad. Okay, new solutions looking forward. I don't need to talk much about SmartPlant Fusion. That was a subject on stage yesterday already. I really believe if you are an owner and you operate existing older plants, think about if you want to have the risk to run that and operate that plant on data which are, I don't know, 10, 15 years old, right? For much longer. This is really something which is not perfect, because you cannot make drawings and documents which do not have intelligence by nature and by magic make them intelligent. But you can sort it, you can structure it, you can connect it to the equipments, etc., etc. So it's much better than doing nothing. The real stuff is with the new plants, or for those of you who want to go and decide to do implement intelligent solutions like SmartPlant for owner-operators, SPO. But still, fusion is fast, it's not expensive, and it's great to operate if you have all those 3D views and photographs, etc., etc. You have seen that. SmartPlant Cloud, quite clear, this is an option, so don't be afraid about it. It's just an additional option for those of you who think that a service component where we do all the stuff in the background and you as a customer can completely focus on your business, building plants, designing plants, or operate plants. The rest we do for you in the back. Smart 3D. There's a new version coming end of the year or early next year, we'll see. Smart 3D 2014. And if you read that, you might wonder, because why Smart 3D and not Smart Plant 3D or Smart Marine 3D? Do we give up Smart Marine 3D offshore? I'll tell you in a minute. And more. That's from the product side. And you will see more in the next 40 minutes from Charles, Melanie, and Patrick, and in all those presentations and sessions here during the next 2 or 3 days. Also, this is not directly related to products, but I thought I should tell you, we are actually talking on a high level with Accenture, and the subject is to do a global partnership with Accenture, specifically on the owner-operator side, so SPF, SPO, Fusion, where they engage, train people, and will be there, if you like, to help you on this type of projects. Okay, it's not signed yet, but I'm very optimistic, and it's for us a big thing in a way, not only because we have a very strong partner on our side, but it tells something. And what it tells simply is, a couple of years ago, we had some projects here and there with Accenture, but that was only case by case, and only if when the customer was basically requesting it. But we were never able to do it direct on both sides, own will, to cooperate. Our willingness was there, but they simply said, talk with us, approach us, call us if you have a 5 million plus project. And those 5 million plus projects, even today, but certainly a couple of years, were very rare. So in other words, our relationship or cooperation with Accenture was really very occasional only. Now it is strategic, if you like. I don't use the word strategic very often, but anyway, this is something interesting for us because it multiplies our services capability, which always is, a challenge. Because if there's a lot of, imagine there would be, let's say, 10, 15 fusion projects coming in the next couple of months, which would be a bit of a challenge for us, right? But with a partner like Accenture on our side, no problem. Again, that's also optional. SAP, we have SAP interfaces since a while between SAP modules and SmartPlant Foundation and SPO. But this goes back concretely to Shell. You have seen yesterday that we are very close to sign the deal with Shell on this SmartPlant Cloud and other stuff, going to use our design systems on a broad scale is one element of this. And SAP, as many of those multi and global companies, is a big SAP customer, and they have asked us and SAP to discuss an even closer cooperation and integration. And we have tomorrow morning, me and a few of my managers, we have a conference call with Shell and SAP to see what we should do and can do. So you see, Intergraph in general is becoming a bigger player in the market. We have been big and the leader since many, many years, but I really feel also from the discussions with customers, and so I have here at this conference yesterday and today, I see that I don't, please don't take me arrogant, but we are on the edge to grow up in the next league. And I believe this is good for all of us. Okay? So, Smart 3D. We had or have SmartPlant 3D. We have Smart Marine 3D, which we developed mainly for the shipbuilding and the offshore industry. But Smart Marine 3D is also very good, specifically and as an example for this modular design, because ships, since years, are built by modules, by blocks, as they call it. Blocks are big Lego pieces, could be very, very big, could be smaller, depending on the shipyard. The criteria of the size of blocks mainly is the lift capacity of the cranes in the shipyard, because this modules needs to be picked up, brought to the dock, and then stitch it on the edges, weld it together, right? And so size matters and weight matters. But that also works for onshore modular design, obviously. Finally, we developed a special version for the mining industry. Mining has different types, very complex types of plants or modules, all these conveyors and these crashers and whatever there is. I'm an expert, but that's based on Smart Marine, by the way, using Smart Marine functionality to do this specific mining stuff. So we had basically 3 flavors for industries or specific construction requirements. And we thought it's time now to end this naming confusion, because we saw that there's customers from the onshore industry who were using SmartPlant to do things like modular design, where we have better solutions, like Smart Marine. But because of the name, they thought, well, Smart Marine, it's not my thing. Our failure, in a way, because we did not inform the customers well enough, but the name suggests something and impacts behavior. So we said, okay, let's stop this. Let's unite it. One system for everything. You can click when you start it up, same price. When you start it up, you click simply if you like to use this module or this module. SmartPlant 3D, you might ask this question, why is it still there? The reason simply is SmartPlant 3D is not that heavy. It has less functionality, if you like, which is very good and good enough for normal onshore projects. And it's a lighter version, if you like. And because of this reason, it still makes sense to have it, okay? But it's up to you in the future which version you want to start. And it gets a new logo. All is a matter of taste, of course, right? Still, I hope you like it. It's not a big deal. The software is the thing, not the logo. But you see, our marketing guys were very creative. So you will see this more frequently in the next couple of months, okay? Okay, again, thank you very much for listening. Have a great conference and stay here. The good thing is still coming, okay? Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Intergraph Process, Power and Marine Executive Vice President of Global Business Development, Patrick Holcomb. Intergraph Process, Power and Marine Executive Vice President and Chief Technology Officer, Charles Evans, and Intergraph Process, Power and Marine Senior Vice President, Global Support and Quality Assurance, Melanie Eakes.
There are a lot of exciting things happening in the cloud these days, and our customers are getting right in the middle of it. They're looking at ways to utilize the private cloud for their business applications. And we're looking at how we can help in that whole arena. At the same time, there are some really interesting things happening with very large projects, as Gerhard said. There's a very large project in the Middle East, in Qatar, from Shell. This is called the Pearl GTL project. On this project, there were 25 EPCs, probably most of you here, in 10 different countries working simultaneously. They created over 500,000 documents, 15 million pieces of data, and they all had to work together. So we're looking at ways that we can make it easier for multiple EPCs and owners to work together. That's why we're introducing an option called SmartPlant Cloud. In the cloud, you'll have access to Intergraph applications and those from our partners, such as Microsoft for Office 365 and others. This will provide collaborative access to the same proven applications that you use today through a portal in the cloud. This will provide these capabilities and face these challenges that you see through collaboration, through standardization of all of the reference data across the whole project, and through the integration of all of the applications. For example, here in London, the CPC can have access to the schematic applications, SmartPlant P&ID, instrumentation, electrical, and they can work on 3D and piping. We're working with our partners NVIDIA and with Citrix on how we can make 3D hardware accelerated through the cloud. But it's not just in that local area. We can also add additional EPCs in India, for instance. And here in New Delhi, we have another partner. This EPC is accessing through a role-based portal all of the same applications and same information. They can use the Office 365 collaboration to work on the project with that partner out in London. And they can access the 3D structural design that they're working on. And they can see what was done over by the piping designer in London very, very quickly and immediately react to that. This allows us to add EPCs to projects very quickly, anywhere in the world, at any time. They can work 24/7, and they can integrate closely with the owner who can have these all working together on their projects. It helps the owner-operator realize their vision. Shell's vision for this is the same data from the same place at the same time. So now let's look at how many of these engineering applications are available both in the cloud and in your local network.
So let's talk about model data reuse. Being able to reuse data is incredibly important to each and every one of you. But there are problems, right? Because those projects, while they are similar, they're rarely ever exactly the same. You know, regardless of anything, most likely your names are going to change for every line, equipment, instrument that you have. And even as the project progresses, sometimes you have changes in your specs, right? So you want to be able to take advantage of that when you're reusing data. Our model data reuse, we think, is unique because it is more than a copy. All the rules and the relationships are going to be maintained, which is incredibly important to you. And in this next version, we're going to be able to, if your specs have changed, we'll be able to do that for you as well. Some people that are using model data reuse today would be Bantrail. They just finished a multi-billion-dollar project, oil sands project in Canada. They worked global Workshare with over 150 users between Canada and India. And they used it to build our modular design for construction capabilities to define 483 unique modules. And they reused 26 of those to create another 131 modules, the size that you see in the pink box. Saipem is another good example. This was their largest project done to date, $10 billion project. It was their very first Smart 3D project that they executed. You can imagine how stressful we were worried about that. It was a fast-track project. It was done about half the time that anybody else would probably have bid something like that. They were able to reuse 15 units the size that you see highlighted in pink here, and they saved tremendous man hours while keeping that quality. I hope you can take the opportunity at 1:30 to be back here in this room, because Mr. Ugo Salvi, the CIO of SciPam, is going to be here, and he's going to present what they experienced on that particular project. And the cool thing about it is they finished a couple of weeks early. Okay, now, even with all of that success with model data reuse as it was, we've added some additional capabilities that we think you're really going to like. You asked us for spec mapping between projects, because you want to be able to take that old projects, the feed models, and you want to reuse those. You want to have best practice designs, but those specs do change. In this example, you can see an owner had a particular insulation spec for his flanges and his valves. But the next project that he did, they wanted a different kind of material, and they didn't even want the welds and the flanges, the flanges and the valves to be insulated. What about the case when you have a weldolet at a branch, but the next project, they want to use half couplings? What about a short radius elbow that you want to change to long radius elbow? Think of the time that you'll be able to save when you don't have to remodel every single thing that changed in that spec. I don't know if you noticed or not, but those pipe lengths also changed. So material can change, your component types can change, and your pipe lengths are going to change. All that is going to be able to be done automatically because of Smart3D's intelligent, embedded rules and relationships. Probably the most impressive to me, and the one that I think you might be really excited about as well, is that we also have model data reuse for your orthographic drawings. So we would take basically a subset of the drawings, everything that you selected for the model that you wanted to reuse, and we will reuse that same exact subset of drawings. Let's compare the previous to the new so that you can see the types of changes that you'll be able to get. Notice that your view styles have changed, line styles, dimension styles, even the dimensions changed from metric to English. Your tagged items are going to be updated, and if your specs do change, then your line names will be updated as well on those drawings. So we really do believe you're going to see significant impact by being able to maintain standards, improving your quality, and shortening those schedules by using these new capabilities that are going to come out this fall.
Thank you, Melanie. Model data reuse is impressive for its productivity alone, but also for its strategic value. For EPCs that believe in long-term relationships with their clients, as they build up a larger library of projects they've done in the past, they'll be able to move faster and faster at lower cost for future projects with those owner-operators that they work with. However, I think we have to be realistic that nobody's going to be working in that kind of environment forever, and that sometimes they're going to have to work with others. And that's why SmartPlant 3D Interop is so important for you. Smart3D Interop provides some all-new capabilities that many people still today are not aware of. With the new Smart3D Interop, it's even more impressive. What we've done is we realized that there were more and more joint ventures and large projects with multiple partners working together with multiple formats. So what we did is we first started by supporting all of our own formats like PDS, CADWorks, Caesar2, Frameworks Plus, and Smart3D models so that we can make all of those interoperate with each other. Then we added to that. We began to add competitor CAD models from Bentley, Aviva, even our partner Tekla, so that we can reference in and bring those models into SmartPlant 3D models. But that's not where we stopped. Our developers also worked on supporting popular standards like CIS2, IFC, so that people could really have many options for interoperability in these large joint venture projects. And then finally, our developers worked on integration with discrete modelers like Solid Edge, some of the MicroStation, or even DTM models for land contours, so we can bring all of that into one place. Many people today don't realize just how powerful this is, but I'd like to show you an example of what this looks like. It starts with this concept of having an integration model, so you can have everything in one place. Particularly powerful if you're a PMC on a project and you have to bring multiple joint venture partners together. Imagine, if you will, that you had partners with a multitude of different formats, and you need to be able to see it all in one place to assure you have a good design for your client. By using the Smart3D Interop, what you would do is you would begin to import these CAD models from all the different vendors, just as you see here. Now, this can be done in SmartPlant 3D, and it can also be done to create review files for the owner-operator review. Because we've used the same exact architecture for SmartPlant Foundation and SmartPlant Construction visualization, we can also use the same process. That means that we can bring all of those different model types together in SmartPlant Foundation, or we could bring those into SmartPlant Construction for construction planning. Now you start to see the power of Smart 3D Interop because of all of the things that we can bring together in one place. This is creating an all-new flexibility for EPCs that have to work with a lot of different partners. And that's all done with SmartPlant Interop Publisher. It's able to publish all of those models into a single model in several different products. I hope you guys start to take a look at that and the new flexibility it offers. Now, most people say, oh, but you can only use the graphics. That's probably been the most common objection that I've heard. And so I want you to be careful before you think that. One of the things that our developers have developed is the ability to have task-based modeling using those models that have come in from foreign CAD models. For example, you can route from foreign nozzles using native CAD modeling out of Smart 3D. You can also maintain all the rules and relationships. For example, you see here behind me, we've got a flange on a piece of equipment. It's associated with the nozzle on the vessel that was brought in from the other CAD model system. Why is that important? Well, you guys have many deliverables, like ISOs, where you need to have those nozzles referenced. So what you see here is you see an ISO drawing that's been generated from this integrated model, and we have the flange and the nozzle all referenced together so that the people who are fabricating and constructing have an appropriate point of reference for when this is finally erected. It doesn't stop there. The automated deliverables are just as impressive. We can create general arrangement orthographic views that are combined between those imported models and the native CAD model in Smart 3D. So you start to have pictures that look like this, which are very valuable for construction packages. This gives people an accurate, very dimensionally accurate view of how all of that is going to fit together, even though it came from multiple different CAD vendor models that were all integrated together using Smart 3D Interop. And finally, we also provide for real-time concurrent design with this. For example, if we had a spec that included insulation on this pipeline, right? Smart 3D automation would add that insulation in, and the interference checker would automatically pick up that we now have an interference between the foreign CAD model that we imported and the insulation that we just now added on our native model. And so they can fix that now instead of waiting until they get out in the field and have a more expensive problem. It doesn't stop there. SmartPlant Interop Publisher also provides a very powerful way for people to interact with each other. For example, let's take the example of a prime contractor and subcontractor relationship. Without forcing the subcontractor to use the exact same model or same specs, we can bring in the subcontractor's model into the prime contractor's main model. Likewise, if we needed to share, for example, pipe rack information, battery limits, or block limits with a subcontractor, we can do that just quickly and easily. Without having to worry about all the details if the specs were not aligned from the start, we can still have effective work and do it quickly. I think if you take a look, you'll find that there's nothing else in the world that offers this level of interoperability for CAD models. It's a great tool for joint ventures. It offers great security and IP protection, and so far the clients that we've seen really like it. Let me show you a couple of examples of what our clients are doing. You see a model here. This is a practical example from Burns & McDonnell. This is a power plant. Now, they worked with a subcontractor who prefers a different CAD model. In this case, it was PDMS. So what would they do? Well, in the past, there would have been tremendous stress over how to bring these together and how to check all of the different connections that you can see here. In this case, we had no problems at all. We simply published the PDMS model into Smart 3D. This is a HxGN that they brought in, the heat recovery steam generator. And then they simply did native modeling, and they built the rest of the plant around it. They had a very accurate model by the time they went out to the field, so there were no construction mistakes as a result of having different CAD models intermixed together. No one else in the world can offer this. Here's another really interesting example, the Agility Group. They had to deal with an example. They've got a customer who uses PDMS models, and they wanted to do a revamp project. So they imported PDMS into Smart 3D. It's noted here in gray, the PDMS model that's been imported. Then they did the revamp project, adding some piping and a small platform onto that model. Now they've got a completely dimensionally accurate model using a foreign CAD model that was referenced in. But you might ask, well, how did they ever get that back to the owner-operator? Charles is going to answer that question.
Yeah, so for that, we developed the SmartPlant 3D export to PDMS capability. So just as Patrick talked about, Agility Group was leveraging this model from PDMS in reference. And they were able to model using all of the capabilities that we're showing you of Smart 3D and create that part of the model in Smart 3D with the PDMS in reference. Then they can use the SmartPlant 3D PDMS exporter, push it through that, and it'll automatically create an intelligent PDMS model. This is not just the graphics. It has all of the attribute information and other information about that model. And so therefore, the customer had all of the integrated information. Let's look at a couple of projects from the Agility Group where they've utilized this capability. The first is the Gulf XB project, and here is all of the information about that project and the information on the right that they created in Smart 3D, and the resulting PDMS model that they delivered to the owner-operator. The second is the Asgard swivel replacement. The swivel stack transfers all of the services between the vessel and the subsea installations, including the oil and gas production. And here is the example of the model that was created in SmartPlant 3D and exported to PDMS and delivered to the owner-operator for use. Linde used a similar process where they worked with another contractor that provided the PDMS model for the pipe rack that you see there in red. And then they did the balance of plant in Smart 3D, utilizing all those capabilities that they had in SmartPlant 3D. And then that was combined with all of the information into one master model that the owner-operator could use together. Both of these customers have been able to use one product, Smart 3D, to deliver projects for SmartPlant 3D, for PDMS, and that means that they only had to create interfaces to their internal systems one time. They only had to train their users one time, and it required less training, and all of these great features that we're talking about in Smart 3D are available to them. So we're pretty excited about what this has to offer. So now, Patrick, why don't you talk a little bit about what's coming next?
So even though we've got all of these amazing and unique capabilities in Smart 3D, one of the benefits is that people look at that and it spawns the imagination, and they begin to say, well, what else can we do? And when they start to see that. So I thought we'd spend just a couple of minutes talking about the roadmap of what we see coming in the future for Smart 3D capabilities. Smart 3D is just a powerful application, as you've seen, and can do many things. One of the things that we've realized is that there's tremendous value in improving the user experience. I think Apple is probably the one company more than anyone else that started to make us aware, all of us aware, of how powerful it is to have smooth, intuitive user interface. We've formed a user experience team within Intergraph development to start looking at an array of opportunities, and we expect to be working on that for several years. You'll be seeing user experience enhancements for years in all parts of Smart 3D that's driven by our user forums. The next part is around content. Last year, we announced the integration between SmartPlant reference data and Smart 3D with a custom API that would do quality checking and enhance and speed up that interface so that it was less manual work. What you'll learn in some of the sessions over this week is our integration with other content providers like ThomasNet. ThomasNet provides catalogs for lots of different vendors and puts those online. We can now, using this interface, begin to take that content that's been created by those vendors in ThomasNet and reuse that with interoperability so that we can bring those into our Smart 3D model projects. This saves EPCs and owner-operators the cost and complexity of having to build that content themselves per project. Now, we've heard about the cloud, and one of the questions that technical people frequently ask us is, well, what about 3D? Because many people have tried to put 3D on the cloud in various means, usually using Citrix. We found so far that Citrix will support about 20 users per Citrix server until it starts to reach some performance limits, and that creates a certain cost structure. However, we're very optimistic that that's going to change in the future. We've seen steady increases by vendors, by NVIDIA as well as Citrix, to further support graphic-intensive products on the cloud, and we think that in the next 3 to 5 years, that's going to be increasingly effective for our 3D products. Another question we've had on certain projects that have proprietary or some sort of protected information is we've heard requests about, well, we'd like to have joint venture partners on our satellites for Smart 3D, but we want to hide things from them. And there could be good reasons for that. For example, proprietary process designs. Today, Smart 3D works like you see here in global Workshare mode. So we have a host and satellites, and all of those can see the full model. With protected global Workshare, the host will also be able to create parts of the model which are protected data and are only shared with certain satellites that the host has chosen. And then other satellites, like in this example, satellite A, would not be able to see those. So what that means in real life is we could have a full plant, and satellite A may only see a certain piece of it. Perhaps they're just responsible for the pipe racks, and the other vendors that are more involved with the proprietary process would be able to see the full model. Finally, when it comes to construction, we've heard a lot of people tell us how important this is. After all, design is only 5 to 10% of the total installed cost. So construction is becoming increasingly important as a source of improvement into the future. You've all heard about the integration that we already have with Smart 3D and SmartPlant Construction so that you can publish models from Smart 3D when they're ready into SmartPlant Construction for work phase planning. We think that what we'll do in the future is begin to do status on objects and bring that back in a two-way integration so that designers can see when things have been issued to the field for construction and they know that they can no longer make any changes. One of the things that we've been asked by owner-operators is to look at project as-built. Owner-operators are going to have a large as-built model that they have to deal with. And what they would like to be able to do is they'd like to be able to take a piece of that model, hand it off to an EPC or perhaps even a joint venture if it's a large revamp or expansion project, have that project executed, standalone from their as-built model, and then when they're all done, they'd like to be able to bring all of that back in and bring it back into the as-built when that facility is finished. And then finally, progress measurement and cost control. One of the values of doing this data-centric design is having so much information. And this is about using that information smartly. By using progress measurement, we'll be able to have tremendous transparency into what is being done and how fast the design is being done. This is very powerful for management. Likewise, using cost factors, we'll be able to see real-time cost estimation so that we can see how the design is progressing relative to the estimate. And that will give management early warning signs in case the estimated costs are either coming in under or over what the initial estimate was.
So now let's talk about some schematic solutions, right? So ducting and instrumentation diagrams have become really important, or are very important to some specific industries, such as power, shipbuilding, pharmaceutical, and even the cement industries. There are basically two types of duct systems: air handling and process systems. These systems can be highly complex in configuration and absolutely huge in size, as you can see from some of these photographs. The design includes outside the ducts, and they can be of varying sizes and shapes, and also in-duct components and instruments such as dampers, fans, reducers, and instruments to measure temperatures and pressures. Given the size and complexity of the problem and your request, we've added a new environment to our SmartPlant P&ID solution for ducting and instrumentation diagrams. This is going to help users perform those projects more efficiently and with lower cost. And we did it inside the P&ID environment because you still need access to all of those other commands to be able to create your diagrams. Now you don't have to learn two solutions. So in our engineering and schematics solution, we have a broad set of capabilities, and that includes things like our instrumentation, electrical, and our P&ID solution, of course, with the new ducting environment added. By delivering the catalogs and symbols, you're going to be able to design any type of rooms, any shape, any size, open or closed. And then, of course, we have added all of those commands that you need to do the connections with the ducts and to be able to insert all of those relevant components to create any type of ducting system that you need. This is an example of a shipbuilding designed to show you just how complex and how large these ducting and diagrams systems can be. This was done actually by our friends at STX in France, and one of the reasons why many of you have requested this capability. Now, once the ducting systems have been designed with the proper connectivity to the components and the instruments, you're going to be able to reuse that in downstream tasks, such as in SmartPlant Electrical and SmartPlant Instrumentation. The connectivity is going to help you validate that you have a proper design very early, and that's a good thing. And also, using the engineering integrity rules that Patrick's going to talk about a little bit later, you're going to be able to verify that the ducting-related engineering and safety practices are correct, just like you do on your process P&IDs. But hey, it's not all about engineering, so let's talk about what we have to offer in construction and procurement.
Thank you, Melanie. In procurement materials management, it's become very important to start doing business more efficiently and with higher quality. And that's why we brought SmartPlant Materials Portal to the market. If you look at what's happening around the world in business today, things are happening faster and faster. Many of us are blissfully unaware of all of the global transactions that happen behind the scenes when you push that purchase button on Amazon or Walmart or any other online site. This has become so commonplace that there are more and more tools for that today. However, I hate to say it, but in our industry, many of you are doing your procurement and supply chain management in a process that looks a lot like what you see back here. You've got lots of people on the phone tapping in information that's been either emailed or manually mailed from someone else. Tap, 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 tap. Lots of opportunities for mistakes, and it's slow. So slow and low quality. But you know, we don't have to work like that. We can start to work like the big boys do. We created the SmartPlant Materials Portal for managing suppliers so they can do self-registration, they can maintain their own information, and it's got a very intuitive user interface. In fact, this is one of the first projects where we used our dedicated user experience team. If you look at some of the screenshots behind me, you can see that this is so simple it looks like really almost anyone could do it. Really no different than what you would see on an Amazon screen, although obviously a little bit more technically complex due to the information. What this does is it allows you, each one of you who has SmartPlant Materials, to start connecting with your supply chain network in real time at much higher speed and much lower cost. Now, it's not just about registration. It also includes interactive quotes in contract changes. So now we can begin to drive costs down by up to 1% and drive quality up of our exchanges with all of our suppliers. This matters more and more as we do business with more and more suppliers around the world. So now, instead of you guys having to do all that tap, tap, tap in your procurement materials management groups, you can act just like the big boys and begin to do your materials management and procurement around the world at light speed.
Thanks, Patrick. Let's look at how we can utilize all of that information with business intelligence. So we're introducing SmartPlant Materials Business Intelligence Reporting. SmartPlant Materials allows you to manage supply chain and subcontracting across multiple projects. It provides project-proven, lowering costs, and compressing schedules and reducing risks. And you want to be able to report on all of this information that's out there. But there's a big problem. There's so much information that it's a little overwhelming. There's that information that came from subcontractors, all that information that's put in for expediting, all the details of every single component, the hundreds of thousands of components that there are within the plant. And trying to figure out where all this is and what to do about it is why we've introduced SmartPlant Materials Business Intelligence Reporting. This is web-enabled so that you can access it anywhere. It's supported on today's mobile devices, such as the iPad you see here, and it allows you to keep up with all the information while you're on the go, wherever you are with your busy schedule. We provide interactive dashboards that allow you to have information about all of your projects. It allows you to see where your money is spent across all the suppliers. It provides interactive charts and graphs, and these interactive charts and graphs allow you to drill down for further information. You can look at supplier performance information. You can create ad hoc reports that you can save and bring back later. You can drill down into this and get nice reports that show you how much each buyer has produced. You can also quickly and easily see how much has gone through subs or how much has gone through specific POs, or which material groups and services have I already paid. We also felt it was important to provide many reports directly out of the box within this dashboard. So the first is a spending report. This shows you the top 10 suppliers and what the spending is, and then you can sort that and see that graphed by supplier, by the department that was in use, the material group, or the services. Another very useful report that we provide and is so critical is to look at forecast visualization. In this, you can see what shortages there may be that might threaten your project success. And so you can drill down into those red areas on that specific work package and see where that shortage or that issue might be. And then you can take corrective action. SmartPlant Materials Business Intelligence Reporting allows you to understand that vast amount of information that we talked about so that you can make better decisions quickly.
Our SmartPlant construction project enables firms to organize, to plan, to schedule, and even manage those complex construction projects. Our focus has been on work packaging for both fabrication and construction. We have a work package scheduler that we can import data from level 3 schedulers such as Primavera or other tools, and then we can create field installation work packages down to level 4 or 5, and now we can even export those back to Primavera. We can schedule work packages by defining non-working days, set work schedules. We can do hours worked, crew sizes, calculate durations, and even animate those work packages. We allow for change in our work packages as well, because you think things happen every day in the real world. And so we allow you to do that and to set and force planned dependencies. We also can create intelligent work package from all types of data. In the video, you can see that we're creating an intelligent work package where the electrical cable data actually came from a spreadsheet. Now we've used that data to create a cable pooling work package in construction. We can take all types of data sources, 2D drawings, Primavera schedules, bill of materials, Excel spreadsheets, and we can also take all types of 3D data. We use that by, Patrick talked earlier about the SmartPlant Interop product. So that's how we're able to read all of those 3D data sources. So that means you can create work packages not only with Intergraph data from PDS, Smart3D, and CADWorks, but you can also take it from things like PDMS or Tekla, even MicroStation or AutoCAD type drawings. Now let's talk about a couple of our clients that are actually moving into production. This is our newest client probably to do that. That's Supura Conchana Petroleum. They're one of the world's largest integrated oil and gas service and solutions providers. They have a full range of construction and engineering services for the oil and gas industry, from detailed engineering design to hookup. And here is their yard in Malaysia. They have over 4,000 employees and 8 workshops. They're creating the detailed work packages to build the modules for the Wheatstone LNG project. This video shows that we're tracking material availability and creating work packages for their pipe fabrication. We worked with many partners in the building of SmartPlant Construction. Fluor was one of those, and I'd like for you to hear directly from Ken Taylor at Fluor.
This is Ken Taylor, SmartPlant Construction Product Manager at Fluor. My partner Zach Walker and I have had a very busy year. With the help of our construction group in Calgary, we started our first pilot project using SmartPlant Construction 2012 in June of 2012. We were successful in work packaging piping. Our original pilot project is now out of the pilot phase, and we are now working with our next-gen group to certify SmartPlant Construction 2013 as part of our SmartPlant Enterprise suite of tools at Fluor. In the upcoming year, we will start using SmartPlant Construction on one or more multi-billion-dollar projects. It has been an honor to work with Intergraph this last year in shaping this current version of software. We at Fluor see SmartPlant Construction as a key differentiator in our being able to execute work on time and safely as we strive to meet our clients' growing needs.
We're really proud of that, as we are all of our relationships with our customers. We think it truly makes a difference in the products that we create release after release. So now that we've built the plant, let's take a look at our operations and maintenance.
Thank you, Melanie. I'd like to talk a little bit today about a new capability that we've released called SmartPlant P&ID Engineering Integrity. I think it's important for owner-operators to take note of this. When we begin to go into the design of any plant, there are really tremendous challenges. We've got a lot of people that have to think about a lot of different things almost in their head, logically and schematically, in order to get it to come out right in the field. These field things are very complicated, and it's come time that we need to start automating some of that engineering with some smart rules. And that's what we've brought SmartPlant P&ID Engineering Integrity for. If you look behind me, you start to see just some little examples of all of the different rules that we expect designers to be familiar with. In fact, I would say it's become borderline irresponsible to think that every single individual designer and checker that you have knows all the different rules in all the different documents that you're sending on those projects. I've talked to people who are in the business, and I've heard that many designers think that the owners checkers are not actually aware of all the details of everything that's been specified. It's got to the point where they're simply overloaded. It's not because anyone's not working hard enough, it's simply that they are overloaded. They can't handle it anymore. And so what this does, it hurts owner operators because they can no longer continue the design continuous improvement guidelines that they've relied on in the past. This puts us in a difficult quandary. What can we do to help all these designers so that we get it right the first time? How do we do that? Well, we started to look at how we can automate this to better help these people. And that's when we came up with this idea. We can start to automate all of the little logic rules that we require them to know. And that's with SmartPlant P&ID Engineering Integrity. This is an add-on module. It comes on top of SmartPlant P&ID. And it's an automation module that can be used to check hundreds or thousands of P&IDs automatically. It also comes with something very valuable, which is a means for a designer to specify logic rules and save them without the use of any IT people and without writing any code. So we have a GUI so you can specify all the logic. It could be topology logic, connectivity logic. It could be around instrumentation. It could even be around ducting design. It supports our new ducting design capability. Now, you really can't get the hang of this until you start to see the end report that comes from this. What happens? A designer simply, when it's time to run a check, would run a check on one or perhaps hundreds of different P&IDs against thousands of different rules. In fact, we supply 3,000 design rules out of the box. There are many, many more, I assure you. We get back from that a report that looks like this that you see here for one P&ID. It checks every single connectivity and topology rule that there is. It tells you if it passed or if it failed, and if it failed, it even gives the designer the option to choose if they want to overrule the failure. There could be special situations where that's required. This is important for the owner-operator. Why? Because now they can start to ensure that they really do get the best practices on their designs and they get it right the first time. It could be getting the right pumping station, getting the right instrument bridle arrangements, any number of different requirements that you can imagine. Now we're getting it right the first time before submission, and we're not relying on all those manual checkers. So that when we go into 3D design, and more importantly, when we go into the field and construction and procurement, we got it right the first time. This improves speed, and it improves quality, and it helps to lower project risks for everybody, not just the owner, but also the EPC, because nobody wants a project that goes bad because of something that was caught late. And that's the value of SmartPlant P&ID Engineering Integrity Module.
Next, let's look at laser scanning integration. I'd like to talk a little bit about how we're working with our partners, Leica and others. In brownfield projects, these are typically and often in hazardous conditions. They're at nuclear plants and offshore rigs. Traditional methods take a long time, and you have to send people out a lot of times. But now, with laser scanning, you can scan once and measure many times, saving those costs of sending those people on site and that training and reducing the risk of injury or accidents. Our sister company, Leica, offers state-of-the-art scanners and services through their partners, and these integrate with our applications. Here we have CloudWorks. This is the CloudWorks Field Pipe module, and it allows you to see all of the different scans that have been done with the laser scanner. You can go into each one, and there you get a great true view, 3D panoramic view of what it looks like. And on the left, you see the model. Right within CADWorks, you can see the point cloud on the right in the true view. You can click on the pipe that you'd like to model. It automatically determines the diameter that's needed, has the right spec, figures out the length of the pipe, puts it in place, and then with the great new capabilities in CADWorks, you can also put in all of the other information that's needed, creating intelligent objects that are in CADWorks and AutoCAD format that can be used to produce these deliverables. We've also enhanced our native commands in Smart 3D to make them cloud aware. So when you're routing pipe, just like you've learned, now if you click within a point cloud, it automatically determines the size and the length and the location. But it's still creating intelligent objects. As you're inserting components, for example, here, you can pick where they're going to go based on where the point cloud is behind it. And you can automatically rotate, again, just based on the point cloud that's right behind that component. We feel that this is really going to help bring the visual world together, that physical world and the CAD world. This is creating intelligent objects that can then be used for revamps, retrofits, maintenance, or asset management. All of this intelligent information can be used to generate ISOs very quickly, orthographics, bill of materials, and any ad hoc reports that you might need. Integrating laser scanning provides a safer and more efficient way to perform brownfield retrofits.
There's great value in the engineering information asset to the owner. But before we can talk about that value, we know that that asset must exist and the owner must have availability of it. That's why you're seeing more and more owner-operators today request that high-quality engineering information during the execution of those CapEx projects. The good news, I guess, is that if you are requested to do this handover, then, and you're using the enterprise if you're an EPC, and if you're an owner, you're using SPO, then we do have a solution that can help you with this challenge. As I said, if you're an EPC and you're using the integrated SmartPlant enterprise during your project execution, then you're already creating that high-value asset and taking advantage of the change management capabilities that are in that. Now creating that handover package becomes an exercise to discuss that with your owner to determine which data and documents that they require. The results of using this is going to be cost and schedule improvements when it comes to preparing and handing over that package. I think it's important to note also that you can take information in from multiple sources because you want to end up with one asset that you can turn over to the client or to the owner. This is going to enable him to have management of change, non-conformity management, or interface management across all of his project contractors and suppliers. That should contribute to significant reduction in cost, schedule, and integrity-related risks. The solution also allows the EPCs to faster and with less effort to respond to those requests from owners to turn over either a single or a periodic handover. Early access to this high-quality information for the owner is going to help him to reduce schedule, reduce cost, and integrity risks. It also helps him accelerate the key operational readiness activities. Additionally, at the end of the project, he's going to want all of that engineering information. Sometimes he even wants to include the tool databases. That makes it easier for him to start his maintenance and modification processes. Now the owner can leverage that engineering information asset to improve his asset integrity and to ensure compliance. Let's take a look at an application that actually leverages that information asset, and that's our SPO Inspection Assistant. Inspectors really need to have access to the latest and greatest data that's available on that plant, and they need to know that it's the latest and greatest. By leveraging the engineering information asset, he can reduce cost, effort associated with providing all that data and document to the inspection teams. This is going to reduce their risk by providing access to that change-controlled information. Now, the inspectors, they need that access to that information on the plant floor. So regardless of whether they have internet access or not. So our tool allows you to upload those packages to an offline device, such as a Windows device. You can take that on site, and the inspector doesn't have to drag around a lot of binders and data documents for that. In this video, you can see an inspector. He's using a photorealistic true view to locate all the equipment he's going to work on. And from there, he can quickly get access to all of the information that he needs to perform his quality inspection. That's going to mean fewer hours on the plant. Once his inspection is complete, then he can upload that information into his SPO system, and he's going to have automated workflows that will accelerate the follow-up on those any integrity issues that he may have found. That ensures proper compliance is established and is also auditable. SPO also supports automated workflows with and integrations with systems such as SAP to ensure that those automated follow-ups happen on those punch list items. That's going to help you ensure that the asset integrity problems are indeed resolved and not just recorded.
Thank you, Melanie. One of the things that we've been very excited to develop in the last year is an all-new capability at a low cost, as Gerhard mentioned before, called SmartPlant Fusion. For owner-operators that have existing legacy plants where they may have limited or no electronic information or perhaps just documents. SmartPlant Fusion enables us to start answering some very difficult questions that owner-operators are grappling with today. They may have the asset running successfully, but do they have the information? Can people get to the information? Does it represent the correct information? If it doesn't, there's tremendous liabilities for an owner-operator that has incorrect information. This has become very difficult. Many times there are multiple masters floating around the plant as a result of access issues. The liability means that sometimes decision makers may not have the correct information to make decisions, particularly when they don't have a lot of time. SmartPlant Fusion was designed to help solve this problem by being able to rapidly and quickly gain control of the information about the plant. What it does is it allows us to capture all the as-is documentation, even paper documents, as well as a 3D model using low-cost photorealistic laser scanning. That can be integrated together for the entire plant and made available. Now, most people ask us, well, is that difficult? Because they imagine large CAD remodeling projects. But we've skipped all those steps. We can simply take documents from an array of sources. Could be PDFs, it could even be raster scans. That information can then quickly be sorted and indexed using SmartPlant Fusion capabilities. We can find all the information that we need now. We can begin to sort that information using our optical character reader so that we can find all the different tags. Once we begin to find all of those tags in all those different documents, we can then correlate them. So now we know where the information for every asset is in the plant. We've done most of this electronically already. There's a short process where when we find multiple masters, which is very common on most large operating facilities, we can find one master, and then thereafter, there is only one master, but it's also easily accessible. We link that with the photorealistic 3D model. This makes it easy for plant personnel to use. They don't have to use a complicated CAD model. They can literally point and click at a picture that's very similar to Google Street View. Almost anybody can figure this out. And then they can access all the technical information on each asset that's in there. It provides other very nifty additional capabilities, such as maintenance planning. Because this is a laser scan, it's dimensionally correct. So we can do maintenance project planning right from our desk without having to go out in the field. So that improves safety. It's also very good for large revamp projects because we can do one scan and enable a large revamp project for many designers so they can take measurements without going anywhere. It provides global access via a web portal. And finally, it starts to increase safety and regulatory compliance because now that owner-operator can answer those difficult questions if they have accurate information and if it's accessible easily and quickly by the people who need it. Overall, what this spells is reduced time and reduced costs, both searching for information as well as all of the other risks that are associated. It's relatively quick, not much more difficult than laser scanning. So if that's something that's of interest to you, if you have legacy facilities and have difficulty with these questions, I hope that you'll take a look. Now that concludes our discussion today on the new products that we've been developing. And we'd like to talk a little bit about what you've been doing. In particular, I'd like to call attention to some of the winners from our awards, our contests, and I'd like to call special attention to our technical user forums. Our technical user forums were relaunched in 2011, as many of you may know. We did that out in Orlando. We have a dedicated global group in LinkedIn for each product. We've seen users help each other thousands of different times on our products, and we've seen our product managers solicit client input on hundreds of different questions to better guide our developers. The result has been a dramatic increase in user engagement with our product managers and product teams. You can see here the number of users on the team has grown by a factor of 7 from January of last year until now. And it's not a dead group either. If you look, the comments and discussion intensity has gone up dramatically. You can even see the wave that happens during the holidays, and then you can see it took off in January as business picked back up. We'd like to thank all of the people who are participating in these, because by all working together, we've started to improve our products and to do that faster. It's all really part of our promise to our customers, which Gerhard makes all the time, and that is that we're going to optimize our productivity, broaden our integration, even with third-party applications or even competitor applications, and always be a fair and honest partner to you. And most of all, we will not forget our rule number 1, which is we never ever let a customer down. And now, as I promised, I'd like to talk a little bit about the awards on some of the people that have put their models into our Golden Valve and Platinum Pipe contests. The first is the Golden Valve Best in Show. I think when you see this picture, I think it speaks for itself just how amazing it is. This comes up to us from Renato Lopez of Ecovex Constructos Oceanicus down in Brazil. It's a spectacular model and really shows the power of what Smart 3D and Smart Review can do. Thank you, Renato. Big hand for Renato. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to honor the winner of our Platinum Pipe Automation Award. We introduced Platinum Pipe a couple of years ago to bring attention to people who are creating significant automations on our 3D and 2D applications in order to improve quality and improve productivity. The Platinum Pipe Award this winter comes from the same company as last year, Samsung Heavy Industries, from Soon-Chi Cho. What they did is they created a working environment maintenance check application. So they go through, and for every single facility, this is particularly important in offshore and shipbuilding that are very dense. So for everything that needs to be operated or maintained, they quickly create an envelope, and they also created custom reports so that they can show that to the owner-operator on handover. It ensures very high quality and that there's no surprises, valves that they can't get to or anything else after the fact. This has led to an improvement in quality and an improvement in owner-operator satisfaction of their facilities that they build. Congratulations to Soon-Chi Cho. Finally, I'd like to call attention to the winner of the Platinum Pipe 2D winner. This comes from Andre Eduardo Sandrini of Odebrecht Engenharia down in Brazil also. They've done a spectacular job by automating instrument process data sheets. They did this by writing an automation on top of SmartPlant P&ID. This allows them to fill out hundreds of instrument process data sheets automatically without manual entry. It also has improved quality and on top of that. Congratulations to Andre. So that concludes our keynote for today. Our team, our executive team, is very excited to work with you. We've done great things in the last year, and we look forward to an even better year in the future. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming today. Have a good show.
You can run the mile, you can walk straight through hell with a smile. You could be the hero, you could get the gold, breaking over records.